Welcome back to another episode of Lions Latest, the show where we gather around and talk about the greatest team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. I'm your host, Bryan Hanes, and we have one last episode ahead of Sunday's game to talk about some stuff going into there, as well as some player stuff. So let's just jump straight into the game. Straight into the video. Starting off, we are talking about the last practice report that you guys are going to hear from me until Sunday, and some of the things that are important going into Sunday's game. So Terrion Arnold has been seen doing full-time play at practice, as well as Khalil Dorsey. Unfortunately, Kirby Joseph and Taylor Decker was still not seen at practice on Thursday. Without Reed out of action as well, and Joseph out with that knee, are questionable both for Sunday. The Lions are certainly going to take anything we can get right now to strengthen our secondary, especially if it means Arnold and Dorsey have a chance of playing. Reed's 71.8 overall Pro Football Focus grade ranks 28th out of 164 qualified corners, while Joseph's 2 interceptions are second among 130 safeties, leaving a huge void to fill depending on how much team or time both players miss. While Arnold's 48.1 overall PFF grade and Dorsey's 55.3 overall grade are below average and certainly nothing to boast about right now. We've seen how Arnold has been playing. They can still provide a major boost to a team that is shorthanded due to injuries, and like we saw last year, we will take anything we can get for defense. The offseason acquisitions, Amon-Ra St and Avonte Maddox are two other guys I want to talk about. They have not really lived up to expectations quite yet on defense. That ranks 30th in yards per completion at 12.1 and 25th in yards gained per pass attempt at 7.6. Yeah, we do leave a lot of stuff go in the secondary, and it's kind of frustrating to watch that happen. I'm not sure what the big problem with that is, because we'll have drives where we look completely unstoppable in the secondary, and then we'll have drives where it looks like there's just always some guy open underneath for big yards after the catch, or we're just letting some random huge play go down the field. It's true. But despite the struggles, the rash of injuries in the secondary has opened the door for them to now step up and really show that they can turn it around as those backups, right? This is especially true for Avonte Maddox, who did more than enough during his previous stint with the Philadelphia Eagles to give the Lions some more optimism. Meek Robertson, who has also struggled thus far, but not that I'm too worried about that, is the only other healthy cornerback on Detroit's roster. This led to the Lions signing Nick Whiteside, who was previously released during final cuts following the preseason to the practice squad. So the secondary, based on what we saw from practice, isn't great, but it's not hopeless, right? Avonte Maddox is no sleeper. Who else do we got? We got some guys back there who are going to be really, really good for us. It's just a matter of, can we hold it down against these two guys, Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins, right? And while the Bengals team that has been outscored 76-13 in their 2 games without quarterback Joe Burrow should present a favorable Week 5 matchup for the Lions, it won't be a walk in the park for us either. With the star wide receivers in Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins going to be there on the other side, the team is going to need to prepare for passing defense ahead of the time and really focus our backups on not letting those guys get past the secondary, because that's going to be devastating for us if we allow Jake Browning to get a touchdown or get above 200 yards passing, to be so honest with you. So while this team, hasn't technically produced anything super well yet, that doesn't mean it could just be the week they're all of a sudden firing on all cylinders. You never know. You have to prepare for that, and that's why the run defense, or the pass defense rather, is going to have to lock in, especially because DJ Reed is going to be out. So that's the final report on that. Pardon me, my eyes really itchy. Allergies have been let me know what you guys think about this and what you really think the overall difference maker is going to be going into this game, with our cornerback situation being the way it is. With that being said, we are going to talk about St. Brown and his mentality. So he got talked about a lot this week. It has been a high praised week for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And why has he continued to be so dominant despite double teams' preparation for his playing style on the defensive side? Well, Scotty Montgomery, the team's receivers coach and assistant head coach, compared St. Brown's mental toughness and preparedness to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And Jared Goff has also continually called St. Brown as good as anyone he's ever been around. St. Brown is just a very special and unique player. The way he plays, the way he prepares, his mentality going into games on himself. He's a very unique kind of player. St. Brown said that going into the game in Cincinnati, he isn't going to be letting his guard down. Just because their defense isn't good as some others in the league doesn't mean they can't win games. He noted that they still have explosive guys on their offense and that they can't hold back for a second and think that it's just going to be a walk in the park, a game where they can kind of just relax, right? He's been a heavy week, as we've said. All pro Detroit Lions wide receiver is going to have a red hot start to open the season, or rather, is already off to a red hot start to open the season. He has 27 catches for 307 yards and a league leading 6 touchdowns through 4 games. St. Brown is the first NFL receiver to have at least 25 catches, 300 yards, and 6 scores through his first 4 games since Randy Moss did it in 2007. He also joins Calvin Johnson Jr. as the lone Lions player to have at least 6 touchdowns through their first 4 games. What makes him so good? Oh man, how long you got? The Lions quarterback said on Wednesday. This is Jared Goff kind of talking about St. Brown. Gosh, I feel like I can talk about him every week. He's smart, he's tough, he's physical, he can catch, he's a leader, he blocks, he can run routes really well. Well, he does everything well. He does everything well. He's strong, he's physical, and he can catch. And at the catch point, did I say he's smart? He's kind of a little bit of everything really well. And and yeah, he does. That's what makes him so good. He is a Swiss Army knife. I mean, we even saw him throw a pass against the Seahawks last year. It was a perfect pass. That we have just seen so much great stuff from him because he was picked as an underdog, and we know the story is getting old of all the receivers picked before him. Wah wah wah. And I get people are sick of that, but it's true. He's a gritty receiver, and his mentality's been insane going into these games. Like everyone was saying preseason that, well, teams are going to prepare for him, double team him. It's not going to be as good as he was last year, and he's leading the league in touchdowns right now. I mean, he's surgical in the end zone. He just gets away from his guy nearly every single time. I think what's so great about him is his physicality at the point of catch, and Jared Goff mentions it. When he is making a cut or he is extending his arms, he doesn't get knocked down. Like St. Brown is so tough on the catch. It makes him such a weapon, and it makes him so convenient to go to on those second and longs, those third and short scenarios. I just love having him on the team. And the other thing, he blocks. He's a run blocker through and through. And when we have our 2 running backs in the backfield who, aren't 2 Pro Bowl running backs, him being able to block for them down in the secondary just allows them to get even more there. He is all around great. And then Jared Goff goes to say he's a quarterback stream to throw to and works tremendously hard, sets the tempo for us on offense at practice, and does everything right. He's everything you want in a receiver, a teammate, and a leader. I love playing with him. First year offensive coordinator John Morton said he told St. Brown he's one of the best I've ever been around. Run past the way you prepare, the professionalism, and the offseason work. Morton has coached in the NFL for 27 years. He's a former receiver who coached the likes of Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, and Anquan Bolton, to name a few. Pro Football Focus ranks St. Brown 3rd among all receivers to have at least 20% of their team's targets. He's also the fourth best grade blocker among receivers, and St. Brown has caught 27 of his 32 targets to open, meaning he's nearly automatic. Like I'm not just saying it; the stats presents it as well. And he has been a 20-plus point guy for fantasy nearly every week except against the Packers. So he's been reliable for the team. He's been reliable for his teammates. He's been reliable for me on my fantasy team. St. Brown is getting stuff done everywhere, and he makes me even more of a fan of him. And for the record, St. Brown said that the screenshot going around of him on social media being on 2K at like 4 a.m. The day before the game against the Browns was fake. Someone was using his account, but he had a lot of fun with that joke kind of going around and continuing to speak on it with reporters during the Allen Park practice. So it's like, if you don't root for the Lions, sure, you can hate on him, but he's really fun to root for as a Lions fan. And I think he is a huge part of our success today, just being one of the founding guys of the new mentality, the new game plan. And we've really just seen him grow from a 4th string guy that we got in the mid rounds to now our star franchise player we put in commercials, we put on billboards. I mean, I really like what we're getting out of Amon-Ra St. Brown, and hopefully he retires in Detroit. Let me know what you guys think about that, though. I think it was just worth noting how insane he's been the last few weeks, despite everyone saying he was going to take a step back this year with defenses preparing for him, or I think he's been off to a great start. That's going to take us to our third topic, where we're talking about a receiver who hasn't been just nearly as good as people thought he was going to be compared to we were just talking about the guy who we thought wasn't going to be so great and has been fantastic. The Detroit Lions are banking on Jared Goff and Jameson Williams working on their connection this week in practice. Against the Browns, the offense wanted to get the speedy part of the ball involved, but numerous passes fell incomplete, were well defended, or were just flat out dropped by Jameson Williams. Goff found himself facing pressure, starting a handful of long developing routes, impacting his delivery, to be fair. Dan Campbell also indicated that last week's practice schedule did also play a small role in the tandem not being able to connect. Yeah, just a little bit off. There's a couple of them. It really is just a couple things here and there. Eyes back a little sooner. Goff just misses one and then gets hit on one where he's trying to release the ball. Said Goff, we're just going to have to be we were just a little bit off, and I go back to this. We're going to go back to the drawing board, and I hate to make excuses, but some of these really, we just really wanted to push the ball down the field. That was what Jared Goff was saying about the performance in the game. Didn't want to make excuses, just really did want to connect with JMO and share the love around. We still ended up winning, so it's like fine, but that is something we need to look at since we have paid him now, and this has been something we've talked about. He's not just a run blocker. He is supposed to be out there catching deep balls. Pardon me. Ooh, excuse me. Wide receivers coach Scotty Montgomery noted that Williams came into the building on Monday with a renewed focus and intention of honing in on the details they were missing against the Browns. He said, I think that was probably the biggest growth we saw is when he came in on Monday. You got to be ready to be coached, especially in the room where the coaching is going to be direct. It's going to be to the point, and it's also going to make sure that we know the standard is set. We don't walk past the standard. Pardon me. Goff does not chalk up the difficulties to poor communication, though. The veteran signal caller blamed himself for some of the tosses that he said he could have put in better spots. Based on analytical data from the 2023 NFL season, Jameson Williams had a 57.5 success rate with one-on-one man-to-man coverage. Now, this was 2 years ago. He's grown so much from that now. He should be getting free for so many more 1v1s, and we have seen him get free. It's just now about connecting the ball and making sure he can take off with it for the score. I feel like this percentage really doesn't indicate how well he could be doing now, especially he's developed more, grown more, gotten smarter with the game. And I think we'll continue to see great things from him later in the season. Fantasy managers, don't give up yet. Hold on to JMO for a few more weeks and let's see what this duo can get done. And finally, we're talking about some of your comments. Starting with A. Williams, Lion King 313 says, Marcus Davenport is the truth. He is the one we need opposite to Hutch to get into Santa Clara. Al-Qadim Muhammad can't handle double team, not strong enough. We need to quit trying to pimp out AQM to be like a Micah Parsons 250-pound version. AQM, although is 250, he ain't as athletic or as fast as Parsons. Sure, it's true, and I guess, yeah, we are trying to use him in a certain way that might not be best effective for him, but he's been effective thus far. He has been doing the job we've been putting him on, and it's not necessarily like we have a choice of putting him in over Davenport. Marcus Davenport just is injured all the time. So, yeah, I'd love to have Marcus Davenport in instead, and I'm not saying I'd take AQM over him, but as it stands, AQM is our best option. And if he's been performing all right so far and he's doing his job, let him do his job. That's all it is. Plug and play game with this right now. And we're just going to have to rely on those backups to keep doing their jobs until our starters are back. But I appreciate your comment. Thank you so much. And finally, Stephen Williams, 1199 says, the year of reckoning. Demo will go off. His family will be in the stands for the first time. His sister, who had a terrible car accident last year, and got super injured, is there now. She hasn't been able to see her brother play in person since. Demo is highly motivated for this game. Well, I didn't know she got super, super injured from that. I had no idea. So sorry for her, but this is great for David Montgomery. Well, first of all, I'm excited that he's going to get to be able to see his family and return to Cincinnati for the first time in a very long time. But now that he's got his family there, I mean, come on, guys. You couldn't have made this more, written, picture perfect. David Montgomery hasn't been back home since high school. He's back home now after a bad week when we know he popped off for a crazy game the week prior to that. Now this is his bounce back week with all this stuff happening. His sister's there. His family's going to be there. I agree with you, Stephen Williams. I think David Montgomery does have a reckoning, and Cincinnati is not ready for Knuckles to go crazy. Thank you for your comment. With that being said, we're out of time today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Lions Latest. If you made it to this part of the video, tell me your predictions for the game Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals and what you think the final score will be right now. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, smash the bell so you never miss a single video here. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Go Lions, and I will see you in the next video.